Hey everybody, hey, it's Lee with JRA, the marketing agency and franchise alternative for $1 million plus junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition business owners and those that want to get there. One of the things I want to talk about today is on the junk removal side, and it's some numbers that you need to be tracking. There are certain numbers that you need to manage and you need to pay attention to so you can manage to make sure that your junk removal business is running as efficiently and as profitably as possible. Tracking these numbers and actually doing something, which is critical here. Some people track just to track. The reason we track numbers is because we want to take actions on those numbers to improve our overall business. Your top guys, your top companies are paying attention to their numbers and they're making smart business decisions based upon the real world data that they are receiving. And they're not just waiting to the end of the month to look at financial statements. They are tracking these things on a daily and weekly basis and monthly basis and quarterly basis and annual basis. They're tracking it on a weekly basis so they can make decisions soon enough so they can influence that monthly P&L. When you just pay attention to your monthly P&L and your monthly financial statements, you're being very reactive. When you're tracking something on a daily and a weekly basis, you're able to make changes in how your business operates so you can influence that P&L, that final profit number at the end of the month, and you're not just waiting around an entire month to make changes. So let's get into those numbers now. We got several of them to cover, and if you pay attention to them and you take action on them, you're going to see some major improvements in your business. Very first one, you can probably guess if you've watched any of our videos in the past, it's average job sale or AJS. Your goal for AJS is $400 to $500 per job. You take the total number of jobs, total number of money you made, you divide it by the total number of jobs you had, that gives you your AJS. Some areas, some rural areas, it's going to be tough for you to get to 400. Some urban areas, you're going to blow way past 500. But if you can get that 400 mark, you're generally going to be good. If you get over 500, you're normally excellent, unless you're in one of those very urban markets like your New York Cities, your Los Angeles, your San Francisco. Those markets, you might need to be pushing 1,000 plus. Definitely 800 plus. Cost per lead. This is your marketing cost just to get the phone ringing or a form filled out or an online booking completed. So we normally want to shoot for $20 to maybe $70 cost per lead, depending on the market. If you can get under 50, you're generally going to be golden. You're generally going to be making some pretty good money. Cost per booked job. So this right here is telling you what it gets to actually get an actual paying customer. Normally, we're going to see this somewhere in the range of 150-ish, depending on the advertising platform. So about 150 or so. And that's why the AJS is so important. Because if you're paying 100 or 150 on a $500 job, hey, that's not a bad deal. But if you are paying significantly more than that, or you're paying that and you don't have a high enough AJS, then you're going to have issues. You're going to have problems where you're not able to afford a job because there's not enough profit to be had there. So these two really work well together. You have to have a high AJS in order to have a high allowable acquisition cost, which we'll get into soon. Matter of fact, let's go into it right now. Allowable acquisition cost, AAC, it is the average job sale minus your cost to fulfill the job less the desired profit. And that's going to be your allowable acquisition cost. Sometimes I leave off the desired profit. I just want to know what's my break-even cost. What is the maximum amount I can afford to spend to actually get a customer? And that's a very, very important number to know. So generally, your main expenses are going to be your labor, disposal fees, and your fuel cost. We're going to get into those percentages soon. But you're also going to want to generally allow a little bit of cost, and on average, I say an average percentage for insurance. You'll want to add a little cost in there for vehicle maintenance. And if you do those, you're going to have a pretty close number to your actual allowable acquisition cost. So make sure you know what that is. By the way, guys, if you're just starting out in this business and you're trying to figure out how to get all this right from day one, maybe you've looked into franchises. Well, hey, what you need to do is check out the JRA Startup Package. That's our franchise alternative that gives you the same great service, the same great training, the same great marketing that you're going to get at a franchise, but it's at a fraction of the cost and there's no restrictions. So that is an excellent thing to check out if you're looking to get into the business and you're doing some research. You can check us out at junkarray.com for more information on our startup package. All right, let's talk about lifetime customer value, LCV. Most owners completely overlook the lifetime customer value. They think it's one and done. We want lifetime customers and referrals from our customers. So you want to track on an ongoing basis through your CRM, what is one customer on average worth to you? What we generally found is one customer on average is going to be worth somewhere around $2,000. Average job size of about 500. They're going to use you about every other year on average. That is a rough figure. You want to kind of have an understanding, hey, are you at 1,700, 1,500, 1,200, or 2,500? Because again, you can adjust your marketing based upon the lifetime customer value. If you have a high LCV, you can afford to break even on the first job, knowing that that customer is going to come back and use you again. And next time, there's going to be no acquisition cost at all. Or if they click on a Google ad, it's very, very minimal. Sales per truck per day. Love this one. Everybody loves sales per truck per day. How much revenue does each truck bring in on an average work day? I like a goal of about $2,000 per truck per day. Now, what you're going to find is you're going to set targets a little differently. Your Monday target might be a little higher. Your Wednesday target might be a little lower. But on average, $2,000 per truck per day, that gives your truck team something to really shoot for. Gives your marketing teams something, and your marketing company you're working with and you something to really shoot for in terms of getting enough jobs on schedule. So you got to get enough jobs on schedule, and you have to quote the jobs high enough, and that's going to give you a really good possibility of hitting your target of $2,000 a day or whatever it might be in your particular market. I like tracking gross profit per truck per day. So what we actually do on this is we strip it down to the things that your truck teams can directly influence. That's disposal fees. They can help lower that by donating and recycling more. That is labor costs. They can help that by working faster and more efficiently and figuring out when they can combine jobs or not, reducing the number of trips to the landfill. They have direct control of that. And the last thing is your fuel cost. Now, your fuel cost, your truck teams have a little bit of an effect on that for sure. Because again, they can decide, hey, can we combine jobs here? Or can we not have to make this extra trip to the landfill? It's very important to be able to do that. Your dispatch team and your management team, you guys have a big effect on this. The day prior, you should be looking at your schedule and trying to reorganizing it and trying rerouting it so you're driving less miles. That's going to help your labor out. It's going to help your fuel cost out. Off-site cancellation rate. Love tracking this. Jobs that cancel before you arrive. That's what we're talking about here. Usually this means something went wrong on the phone. The pricing wasn't clear. The follow-up was weak. We didn't sell the value. Response time was slow. It could be any number of things. Now, what also often happens is people shop for pricing. So one of the best things you can do to improve off-site cancellation rates is after the job is booked, do a quick text message and follow-up call. Talk about how you're excited to get out there and service them. And oftentimes that needs to come from the owner. Now, you can actually do, there's some AI voicemail stuff you can do now from an owner as well, where the owner, it goes directly to their client's voicemail rather than ringing the phone, and it's the owner actually leaves a message, and it's can use like an AI voice, and it's can be very good once programmed. And it'll say basically, hey Seth, really appreciate you booking. Excited to have you have us out there between 3 to 5 tomorrow. Hey, if you got any questions on the service or whatever, just let us know. And you introduce yourself as the owner and that kind of stuff. And that extra level of touch can help reduce those off-site cancellation rates. The other thing is just getting the job as fast as possible. The less time they have between when they call and when you come out, the less chance there is they find somebody else to do it for cheaper. So that's very important. Let's back up. Off-site cancellation rate, I like to keep that between 10 to 15% if we can. If you're in California and Florida, you guys probably have a 20% plus off-site cancellation rate. Try and work it down. Just a few percentage points makes a big difference in your bottom line. On-site cancellation rate, we used to say 10%. We try and shoot for 7% or under on this now. And that's really just by dialing in your sales script and by understanding how to do objections, That's going to really, really help out your on-site cancellation rate and being able to close that job. And just building rapport, building professionalism, showing up with a clean truck. The phone call goes perfectly. The team text when they're on the way within arrival time. They show up with a smile on their face, in uniform, in clean uniforms. Just like you really want to reassure them throughout the entire process that you are providing a great value and top-notch customer service. If you do that, that's going to help you out in terms of a lot fewer jobs canceling. Disposal fee percentages, 7 to 12% is what we shoot for here. If you have a minimum, 1 ton, 2 ton minimum, you want to show up with a full load if you can. So combining jobs where you can, even if that means going to a job, loading up, and then going to the landfill and then having to come back, that might be something you have to do. We try not to do that because it's not the best kind of customer experience in the world. It happens some when you're trying to keep those disposal fees down. The more stuff you do, the more business you do with a particular landfill, you can go there and you can negotiate lower disposal fees and lower minimum tonnage sometimes. A lot of times they'll come down to disposal fees, the minimum tonnage sometimes, not as often. So just keep that in mind. The busier you get, that is a number you can control. And obviously recycling and donating as much as possible is really big on keeping that disposal fee percentage down. Labor percentage, it's generally going to be your largest controllable expense. We try and keep labor at 20% of revenue. It's hard to do. You're generally going to find 25%. Some people are as high as 30%, but try and cap it at 25%. That's your ceiling. 20% is your stretch goal. So again, tight dispatch routes, training your guys to be super efficient, incentivizing them potentially. This is something you can do. Incentivizing them potentially if they get really high sales per payroll hours, and you tie it into there, that might be allow you to get a lower labor percentage overall. So the main thing though is you just have to really manage your crews tight. You have to have a really tight routing, so you move jobs around as needed if you can. Reduce trips to landfills. Make sure there's not a bunch of extra breaks going on, a bunch of extra stops at gas stations and all. So have GPS tracking. Understand what your crews are doing. You lead and you manage. This is a very important number to manage because it's huge on your bottom line. If you get labor down to 20%, you're going to be making some really good money. Let's talk sales per payroll hour. Revenue divided by total payroll hours is your sales per payroll hour. We did a video on this recently. I'll link to it in the description. $100 an hour is okay. You should never be below $100 an hour for sales per payroll hour. $125 an hour, that's getting to be pretty daggone good, pretty strong. You get $150 an hour plus on SPPH. You're among the most elite junk removal companies in the country. You're going to be a very profitable business. If this number is going up, you're running a very efficient and profitable team. As you start having more and more employees, this might not be something you track necessarily when it's just you and one other guy. Junk Doctors, here at Junk Doctors, we have like over 25 truck team members. We don't want to have to go out and hire people all the time. We want to make sure people are going to stick. Most junk removal companies will find their employees stick around 18 to 24 months on average. If you get good employees, you want them to stay as long as you possibly can because, one, it's hard to find people that are good. Two, you have to train them up. There's a couple months there where they can't quit jobs, they can't drive because they're learning. And it's very inefficient to constantly replace employees. So having competitive pay, thanking them, having them have a good strategy, giving them the flexibility for some time off, giving them clean equipment or good operating equipment. Air conditioning works well, the trucks aren't breaking down. Giving them the proper tools to be able to do the job and providing them with the training and feedback so they continually get better and they realize that their job matters, and obviously thanking them, recognizing their birthday, all of those things that you can do to help out retention. At Junk Doctors, our retention rate is somewhere around 34 months. So we are close to double, maybe not quite, but it's approaching double the average retention rate on employees. And we have a lot of guys with 5+ years. We got a couple guys with 8 years now. So retention rate is huge. Pay is important. Allowing them to get tips is important. Thanking them is important. You guys know the right stuff. Treat them well, and that helps out your retention a lot. Don't overwork them. Even if they tell you they can take the extra hours, hold them back. Nobody can work out in the heat, summer heat, 60 or 80 hours a week consistently. They're going to get burnt out, and they're not going to tell you they just want to cut back. They're just going to quit because they're going to be sick and tired of it. All right, let's talk about building reputation. So you can be the absolute best in town, but if you're not getting reviews, no one knows. So what we like to actually track is our customer review rate. So we like to track our reviews divided by the total number of jobs that are completed. Oftentimes we like seeing somewhere between 30 to 50% on that number. We see about 36%, maybe as high as 40% of customers are actually leaving reviews here recently on some platform. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It is about 26 to 30% is what we're seeing. 30 to 50 is what we're going after. That's our goal. So 30 to 50 is what we're actually trying to achieve. Every single time you get a more review, that lessens how difficult it is to sell that next customer. So make sure you're going out and make sure you're tracking the percentage of customers that are actually leaving reviews. That is going to vary based upon the area too. We have noticed that some areas just like to review more. Some don't review hardly at all. Listen, guys, if you guys need help getting more leads, optimizing your website, dialing in your Google ads, or dominating your local rankings, check us out here at JRA. That's exactly what we do. We work with about 100 junk removal companies, and we work with a lot of dumpster rental companies. We work with a few demolition companies. We work with several that do all three or just do two of those things. We're very good at creating beautiful websites that convert better than anybody else. We track it. We have excellent customer service. You have a rep you can talk to whenever you want, regular strategy sessions, great reporting, all the things you need for a partner to help you get to $1 million plus or multi seven figures, so 2 million plus. We even have a guy that's about to hit $10 million a year. We've been working with this individual that's about to hit $10 million a year since we first started in 2018. We got a lot of guys at $3 million a year. Marketing is huge for your junk removal business. Nobody knows more. Nobody cares more. Nobody's constantly striving to improve more than us here at JRA. There are other good marketing agencies out there that are cheaper. You can go with us. You're going to spend a little bit more money, but I feel confident in saying you're going to get to that $7-figure million mark, that 8-figure mark quicker with us. You're going to be able to expand quicker with us. If you got some money to invest into it, you're going to get that ROI. You're going to get that level of customer service that really is going to make a difference. So let's talk about final action steps here. Don't try and fix all these numbers overnight. The first thing is start to track them. You don't necessarily have to start tracking every single number either. But start tracking them, get you a spreadsheet built out where you track each one of these numbers and figure out what your baseline is. Review them weekly, daily ideally, but weekly in minimum, and then take action. Find your weakest ones, find your weakest link, work to improve that number, brainstorm ways to improve that number. I've given you some good tips here. We'll continue to put out some other numbers and different videos on how to improve each one of these numbers in the coming months. Use those, apply them, and let's build an amazing junk removal business. Hey, if you're already tracking numbers, please in the comments, let us know which numbers you're tracking and what kind of results that you see from those. I'll try and reply to as many of those comments as we get. And if you could, like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way, the next time we post great videos, if you hit that alarm bell, you're going to get notified. Appreciate everybody watching. Again, I'm Lee Godbold with JRA, the marketing agency and franchise alternative for junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition companies that are $1 million in revenue and those that want to get there. We'll catch you next video. Thanks for watching.